Welcome to All Things Documentary. I'm your host, Candid, and if you enjoy documentaries like me, welcome to the show. Now, what do I talk about? It's in the title, All Things Documentaries, but I do talk about new releases, documentaries that I've seen. We have a conversation about it. I talk about directors, anything that's related to documentaries, I'm on it. And on today's episode, I'm going to discuss 3 films that I saw. The Call of Natureboy, because everyone's talking about that, and I finally watched it last week. The Crash on Netflix, and The Bust of French Mutiny on Netflix. So where do I start? Because they were all good documentaries, some better than others. I'm gonna start with The Crash because that was the best documentary that I've seen recently. The Crash is on Netflix. It's a full-length documentary, not a docu-series, so you can watch it in one shot. This is about a young lady named Mackenzie. It involved her boyfriend, Dominique, and her friend, Davion. This documentary was crazy to a degree. What I love about documentaries is that the storytelling has to be not elite, but it has to be good, keep me interested. And this film did just that. It was directed by Gareth Johnson, so shout out to him. And they did a great job of telling us the stories behind each quote-unquote character that are in the film. Mackenzie, she gives off this privilege, I'm better than you type of vibe. Dominique, he gives off the quiet people pleaser, but he's getting to his bag type of vibe. And Davion, he was an athlete. He was the funny guy. So the way they made each person a character and gave the backstory made you more invested. Now, here's the thing. First off, spoiler alerts, just in case you are gonna watch it. I am gonna give spoilers. So, Mackenzie and Dominique are a couple, fresh out of high school. Dominique is about 2 to 3 years older than Mackenzie. After graduation, they wind up living together. And you know how young love goes. You get into the petty arguments. You break up, you're back together. You break up, you're back together. It happens. We were all young. We all had those relationships. Maybe if you didn't, then congratulations. So they fought a lot, but they got back together. She wanted to be more of a TikTok influencer per se, and he wanted to start businesses. And he had money, so he pretty much took care of their lifestyle. And she cheated on him. No, I'm sorry. He cheated on her at some point in the relationship. And as a young girl, that makes you a little insecure. So long story short, they're driving, herself, Dominique, and Davion, and they hit a building. She hits the building because she's a driver. The question was this accidental or was this intentionally done? My opinion, after watching the entire documentary and the courtroom and the video footage, this looks intentional. There is no way around it with the proof that they have in the car. I wasn't in the car. I don't know if they was arguing and she was just still going 90 full speed and hit the wall. I don't know, but all I know is she went straight down the street at 90 plus miles per hour, and she crashed into the wall, killing Dominique and Davion. She was the only survivor. Now, she did get injured as well. She had a broken neck, then she had 2 broken legs, a broken arm, but she survived. Now, maybe her intent was for them all to die. I don't know. But the incompleteness of the documentary, in my opinion, was even though that they interviewed her, she never stated why she did it, because for her, she's not guilty. She didn't do this. She didn't do this with intent. But the prosecutors, they gave a great case. The families of the victims, you know, except for one family. One family was like, no, she did that. She did that. She did it on purpose. We don't believe her. Dominique's parents, it was a little different because they had a emotional connection with Mackenzie. That was their son's girlfriend. They were going to get married at some point. So in their eyes, it's like, she wouldn't do something like this. No way. But once they saw the videotapes and some of the proof that the prosecution had, it was like, all right, how do they feel? Because they still, in the documentary, you can still tell they feel a little bit conflicted, but they know the truth, and you can still see that they're battling with it. But this is honestly, for me, being older, this stems from lack of emotional intelligence and lack of communication and not being able to take rejection. Mackenzie couldn't take rejection because in the documentary you'll see that Dominique tried several times to like end it with her. But she was one of those people that was like, if I can't have you, no one can have you. And I don't get people like that. Like, I don't get it. I used to say, I want somebody who loves me more than I love them. I don't want that love no more. I don't want, let's just love each other equally. If you love me a little bit more, that's your business. But I don't want anybody who's gonna love me and on some, if I can't have you, no one can have you. That ain't up my value. That ain't up my thing. That's not my thing. You know, and I'm not gonna love somebody harder where don't want nobody else to have them. That's just not in my personality. But I do encourage you to check out The Crash. It's on Netflix. It's about an hour and 30 minutes long. But the thing is, it doesn't feel like it because the way the documentary flows, you're just like, what happened next? What happened next? Oh my God. So great storytelling. They didn't have a lot of fluff in it. It was pretty much to the point, to the case, and then you get to hear Mackenzie's perspective on it. Now, excuse me. Let's get into The Bus, a French Football Mutiny. Now, this documentary, this is a sleeper. I don't see, not too many people are talking about this. If you follow me on TikTok or IG, you know I do Doc to Watch Fridays, and this is going to be one of my Doc to Watch because, one, I don't follow football, aka soccer. Those are the two, one of the two sports I don't follow: baseball, soccer. I dabble in lacrosse. I look at all sports, but baseball and soccer is just not it. Now, this is about the French football team in America, the French soccer team. This was directed by Christopher Astrick and Jerome Fertel. Christopher, if you're watching, I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. So sorry. And this follows the 2010 World Cup team. Football in other countries outside of America, they take that serious. They take that serious. Serious to the point where if they don't win, it feels like off with your head. Now, one thing I could say about this, watching this documentary, I've never disliked the person, and I don't even know them. But this coach, what's the coach name? Raymond Dominique. Oh, he can go. So let me tell you about the premise of this documentary. It's pretty much based off of a lie. So what happened was, in this film, the 2010 World Cup team, French World Cup team, they had the stars of the stars. I'm gonna list them out. They had Patrick Ever, they had Nicholas and Nalika. They had like the all-stars on this team. So everyone expected them to win the World Cup. And they were doing okay, but the coach that they had, which was Raymond, honestly, he was a dick. Like, he very egotistical. It was more about him than about the team. And there was a lot of conflict. I'm not going to give away too many spoilers. I'm going to speed it up. In one game, they were losing. They were losing bad. And it was halftime. And you know when you're in your locker room and you know, come on guys, let's go, let's get it. It was none of that. It was straight silence. And then out of nowhere, instead of the coach picking up the team, you know, giving that speech where they're like, yeah, let's go. We're going to go back out there. We're going to win it. That coach did no such thing. That coach singled out a player and was like, you suck. You're doing horrible. You're the reason why we're losing, etc., etc. And the players like, the coach, like, what are you talking about? You know, and going back and forth. And then, I don't say all hell breaks loose, but it was just like an intense argument. What happened was media caught wind of what was going on in the locker room. So they started doing their phone calls and asking. And you know how the telephone game goes where you get one piece of information and then it keeps going and keeps going and the story changes. Well, the story changed and they said that the player, Nick, had told the coach, like, F you, etc., etc. And they took that quote and they put it on the French paper. The reason why the media played a big part of this, because the media doesn't really like the coach either, because the coach will have private training sessions. He wasn't a media person. He was horrible at communication. So, you know, when the media don't like you, they're going to paint a narrative. So they plastered that quote on the newspaper and the French government got involved. They was like, oh no, we can't have this. You are not going to represent our country. You're suspended. They suspended Nicholas. The team was furious because he never said that. But the coach doubled down on it and was like, yeah, he said that shit. He said it. And it just made the players feel a way where they decided to strike, meaning they didn't want to practice for the day. That's what happened. Them not practicing for the day, the government was like, how dare you? They was calling them spoiled millionaires for not playing. But they was, in these days, they were standing on business back then. In 2010, they was like, no, you're not going to suspend the guy for something that he didn't do, because they were really with that team camaraderie thing. Like, it was like, no, one for all type of situation. And this is the World Cup. They were willing to not win the World Cup to stand up for their brother. That's a lot of integrity, because a lot of people will not do that for that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Long story short, you got to watch the film because I don't want to get too much spoilers. But they end up losing, and the country turned on them. I mean, when they got back from South Africa to go to France, I mean, death threats, eggs being thrown at them. One guy was at the music park with his kid. A lady came up with her baby, started cursing him out. He left. Another one of the players fled the country. He was like, I'm not even going to stay here in France. He was like, I'm going to the country, because it was just so crazy for them when they got back, because the media put out a lie and the coach never clarified the lie. You have to watch this documentary. Had me at the edge of my bed, like, oh my God, what's about to happen? What is happening next? And it turns out in the documentary, they have a few of the players there. Shout out to Patrice Ever, because he was the captain. They kicked him off and was like, you can't be captain. What the coach did to him at the end was crazy. But do you know, at the end of the day, now the coach want to talk about, oh, Nicholas never said that. These men, these players have been dealing with this for 15 years. 15 years, because it was recorded back in 2025. 15 years with this lie, and their country thought that Nicholas said this and all these things happened. Just for in the documentary, now the coach wants to tell the truth. And then they asked him, like, why are you selling the truth now? He was like, oh, because, what does it matter? When I tell you, I wanted to smack the smile off his face when he said that. Like, this documentary, I wasn't mad. I was just like, yo, if I ever see that coach, I'm going to have some words for him. Like, I'm not one of those people like, oh, you did like, but if I ever see this coach, what's his name? Coach Raymond Dominique, I got some words for you. Because the prime minister, they was calling the players thugs, and their past background from being in the projects is the reason why they acted like this, and now they're millionaires and they don't know how to act since they got money, and etc. etc. He let his players take all that heat just to come on the documentary and be like, oh, it wasn't true. Listen, watch that documentary. It is The Bus, The French Mutiny on Netflix. Must watch. Honestly, for me, 10 out of 10. The storytelling, the cinematography, the everything. Everything about it was elite. So shout out to the directors in that production company. Now, let's get into the cult of Natureboy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So the cult of Natureboy, I finally watched that last week. And I was going to talk about it earlier, but I wanted to sit on it just so I can have some thoughts, some unbiased thoughts, I should say. Well, not biased, but let me just talk. For me, was I surprised by anything in this documentary? No, I was not. The only thing that I couldn't believe was the amount of people that decided not to join him. Whatever. People would do cults. That's, whatever. But to get a one-way ticket and to block their family members, to be out there in Costa Rica with a complete stranger because he's telling you life is good. I don't understand the power of social media and influencers. And I probably never will. Because I don't, first off, he was never on my algorithm. 2016, through COVID, I've never seen that guy on my algorithm. And I'm very thankful because that lets me know that my algorithm, the things that I see, is not that bad. Because algorithm knows, don't have no cult stuff, people on there that I'm not into. Like the Liver King. Never seen the Liver King on my algorithm until I saw the documentary. I'm like, oh, I never heard of him. But back to the cult Natureboy. For those who don't know, if you're like, why should you keep looking back and forth? I have my laptop here so I can have the director's name, and I'm looking at my timing there. Because I don't want to keep you all too long. Now, the cult of Natureboy is on Hulu. It's a 4-part documentary. It's about 40 minutes each episode. And from what I was told, there's even better episodes on YouTube. There's a 46-part YouTube series that I will not be watching. These 4 was enough for me. So the guy name is Elijah Bishop, whatever his name is. I don't even want to say his name. He was the cult leader, and his whole premise was, F America, the system is holding you hostage. It's brainwashing you to be employees. All you're doing is living to pay bills, etc., etc. He's like, yo, I moved to Costa Rica. I'm one with nature. Look at my beautiful paradise. I get to jump in the river. I get to plant my own food. Just selling a lifestyle that he is supposedly living. And there are people who see this, and in my opinion, a little weak-minded for me. Just a little weak-minded. But I don't understand the whole people getting brainwashed thing. So people out there was like, you know what? I'm tired of my problems. I don't want to face reality anymore. You know what? F this job. F these bills. F my family. I'm out of here. I'm getting me a one-way. Not a two, and let me try it out. I'm getting me a one-way ticket to Costa Rica and build this community with this man. I have absolutely no idea if he's a murderer. I'm not gonna do a background check. I'm not gonna get more information about the country that I'm about to fly to. I don't care about their laws. You know what? I don't even want to know what the laws are. That's what I can't believe people did. But they did that. And they continue to build this culture, nature boy lifestyle, whatever. And as he got more people, he slowly started brainwashing them. He was saying like, I'm your Messiah. I'm your God. He preyed on the weak. He was like, listen, you want to be here? You got to give me your money. Give me your debit card, because we all have to put it in the pot so we can all live. But this man said in his videos, to get you there, we don't need money. In his IG, I don't need money. I'm in Costa Rica. I farm. I got nature here. I don't need to live off the system. But when you get there, he's asking for your money. Then he's on the phone. He's talking about having a simple lifestyle, but he's on IG Live all the time. But that's how you gotta recruit. As if you haven't watched it, he's beating people, having sex with women, raping women. I mean, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. And then the men in the documentary, just a mess. A mess. Even the men being brainwashed, the men competing against each other for the women. He separated the women from the men in the house. And then on top of that, this is what I don't get either. I didn't get a lot of things in this documentary, but all this is being recorded on live on IG. And the world is seeing this. But he's in other countries, and he's going country to country. And here's just the moment where I knew, like, damn, brainwashing. Like, he had them super brainwashed, because at one point they go to Hawaii. They broke all the COVID rules out in Hawaii, kicked out, whatever. They had to come back to, I don't want to say the States, because Hawaii is a state, part of America. But they had to come back to like wherever they lived. And they're home for a while. Next thing you know, Natureboy pops back up. Hey, I'm in Mexico. Come back with me in Mexico. And these people did it. They was like, oh, you're in Mexico? Okay, I'm gonna go to Mexico. One girl got pregnant. But you know what? I'm glad she woke up. She probably woke up after getting beat so many times. I'm not even trying to be funny. But she was like, you know what? I like it, me and my baby out of here. She fled away. Shout out to her. I forgot her name. There's a couple that's married. I want to speak on that couple. What's their names? I don't know their names yet. But there's this couple where they were married. No, they weren't married coming in. They were two single people from different cities. But one guy was from like Georgia. He's the one with the nice pretty eyes, whatever. Him. And then he married another girl who happened to be a virgin, right? So they get married in the cult, right? Because Natureboy made people get married. They went to Vegas, had people get married, whatever. So that's what I want to talk about there. I get it. You in the cult, you brainwash, you got to get married, you married. But when the cult was over, because they busted that whole shit up, and Natureboy was on trial, and now he's in jail, I think for life. right? Boom. Spoiler alert, that's what it was. So this couple, they still married to this day, I believe, because in the documentary they were still together. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Me personally, if I married you in the cult and then we happened to get out the cult got dismantled, and now I'm back around my family, I'm in reality, the blinds is off my eyes, I can see now, we get in a divorce. We get in a divorce because talk about trauma bonding. Talk about trauma bonding. Anything that was related to that cult, I have to get rid of. Don't need you around at all. I don't know how they're still married. Because the only thing they have in common is that cult. And that's the outside looking in. They might have other stuff in common like music and food and maybe different values. So be it. So be it. But no, after I'm out the cult, I'm sorry, buddy. We can't be married. We can't be married. It's not happening. Now, I will say, in the beginning, I didn't want to watch the cult Natureboy because I thought it looked stupid. But I was wrong. I was wrong. This is eye-opening. I feel like parents, if you have teenagers in your life that's older, that you feel can get it, watch them. So people know, like, you can't be brainwashed. I don't understand people who are weak-minded to the point where you can believe someone else is your God. Now people be like, oh, well, people idolize different things, like people materialistic, sneakers are your idols if you have to have them. No, I'm not praying to my sneakers. I love watches. I'm not praying to watches. I pray to God. I'm not calling anybody Messiah at all. I'm not calling anybody God at all. Unless that person gives me a stick and says, put it in water, and the water splits apart like Moses did in the Red Sea. Then I might be like, oh, maybe you are God. You might be God. But at the same time, you're not supposed to see God. If you read the Bible, God is light is so bright that you can't even look at him. But listen, he ain't the first cult leader. There's many cults out there, which leads me to now watch more cult documentaries so I can pick out my favorite cult documentaries. Because this isn't up there. I'm pretty sure there's better. I'm pretty sure there's better. One of my friends told me to watch Happy Shiny People. So I'm going to take a look at that. All right, so listen. I encourage you to watch all 3 of those documentaries. The Crash is on Netflix. The Bust, the French Mutiny is on Netflix. And the Cult Natureboy is on Hulu, Disney Plus. I enjoyed all 3 documentaries. And the honorable mention is the Diane Sawyer special. It's like a investigative documentary. The Richard Simmons joint. I actually saw that the other night, and it was really good to learn more about Richard Simmons and his journey. I'll probably talk about that on another episode. In the meantime, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Keep following me for new content. I'm going to try to do this once a week. Well, I'm going to do it once a week. I want to do it like 2 times out the week. But listen, I'm Candid. I talk all things documentary. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that share button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's keep building this community of doc watchers. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. They'll all be like right here. Make sure you follow me. In the meantime, in between time, make sure you have a great week. Blessings up. If you have a documentary that you watch, put it in the comment. I'll check it out. Until then, see you next episode.